Okay, so now it gives me great pleasure to welcome Jullie Beya, who's one of our students who graduated recently. Um, and she's in the area of looking at talent management, skills development in the office of the executive mayor in South Africa, in one of our metropolitan cities. And she has excelled in on our program, and she is here to share some of her experiences. And in the question time, you are free to ask her questions about her experience. And we thought it'd be good for you to engage with a student who's gone through this and experienced it, because you may have questions we can't answer because we haven't been students on this program. So, Julie, thanks. If you can uh, take over.
Thank you so much, Chanel. Good afternoon to everyone on the platform. I would want to, I think, begin with the acknowledgements, to just acknowledge, Chanel, Dr. Chanel, who was my coach and mentor during my time as a student at the Nelson Mandela School. I want to also acknowledge Zikona, who was really just our anchor and support through this program, as well as acknowledging Petunia, who really just, got us going, ensured that we smiled and, through the program to just promote the program. I think my testimonial, I'm going to try and be as brief as possible. Firstly, obviously, to just say with the utmost humility and gratitude to have been afforded the opportunity to share my journey, which I hope will inspire you guys to join the master's program in development policy and practice. I joined this program as a part-time student. It was a 2-year program, right in the middle of the COVID-19 period in 2021. My first block of lectures was online. And I was the dutiful aunt holding a newborn on one and managing 5 children running around, whilst moving in and out of work teams, meetings, troubleshooting, Zoom lectures, preparing meetings in preparation for my first board meeting that was meant to take place the following week. It would have been nothing short of a miracle to fathom how I was able to complete this program, having submitted my long research paper to my supervisor, Marianne, on record time, and graduating on time for the first time on the 15th of December, 2023. A day, by the way, which was declared a public holiday, which I think in some way was a God's national gift to say, hurrah, you made it through. I share this personal experience, not to testify of being a product of some level of heroism, but to outline the process that this program takes you through to refine and develop you as a development practitioner. So whilst it expands your knowledge base, as I think Chanel has gone through in terms of the various critical topics around development in a Pan-African as well as both the global perspective. And it allows you to refine it to your country situation and your workplace situation. But it also provides a mentorship program, which I think is what makes this master's program quite unique. In that you are assigned a supervisor, but you are also assigned a mentor from the academic staff who aid you in what I keep calling my personal development. So you must imagine it as a funnel almost, where you are you come in with these big expectations, these big responsibilities, these big everything else, and you're refined into the specialist that your industry requires. So sometimes it's not you don't become a product of heroism for the world, but you become a product of heroism for the industry that you are in, which actually you would find ultimately makes a huge impact towards, elevating poverty, tackling the challenges, whether it's in your city or your province or your country or internationally. So to be able to do that really requires, not only does it refine your leadership skills, your understanding on ethics, and this program came at that particular time where, from a work and development perspective, it required me to be able to put into practice critical topics around ethics, around tackling corruption, around climate change, around developing systems that would help in refining and addressing the pandemic situations that we face. Even more recently, around how we would combat illicit trade within the city. So I would not be able to have been able to, be of assistance or an asset to my industry, to my nation, had I not been taken through this program and had I not been refined. I think that's the critical thing. You come in with the experience that you may have, in the sector, but this process, refines you to become that, strategic thought leader that your workplace and your industry needs. And that's really what I think I would say would be a big take home if you do join this program. Emotional intelligence, it's very critical. But most importantly, and I think bringing it home, is around the management of your time. This program is quite critical, and I think those were the first things that Chanel had to hammer down and say, young lady, if you want to go through this program, you need to drop. You need to review your priorities. And I think to be able to join this program and to be able to succeed in this program does not necessarily require heroism, but it requires you to learn how to manage your time and how to manage your priorities. So, and it requires that you surround yourself with, your family and your environment that understands that you need to prioritize your academic development and vis-a-vis everything else. And these are really just some of being able to do that are really just some of the soft skills that you require, when you are a development practitioner, to be able to prioritize in terms of budgets for development, to be able to prioritize which programs should be implemented at a particular point, to be able to really have the impact that you require. So that's the kind of refining that this program really takes you through. And the sacrifice was immense, but the rewards of it are far more than the sacrifice, where you have to say goodbye to leadership positions. You have to, drop, certain areas. I think another really critical thing, I'm not sure if it still happens, is I was fortunate to be able to join this program. Whilst I was employed, I would not have been able to afford to actually cover my fees for this program. And the partial funding that you get from the Nelson Mandela School, it really goes a long way to ensure that you are fully focused on your academic program, without the anxiety and the worry about how you're going to pay off your school fees. So those are, I think, just from a testimonial, I really hope that I have, given you some inspiration, and convinced you to join this program. Having shared that just from a personal point of view to say, look, you've got to, this program refines you. And if you're looking to for a program, a master's program that will not just offer you the theoretical and your ability to be a master at being a development practitioner, but that will help you just refine yourself to be that asset, going forward. I think this is really the program that you should consider. You get exposure, and I think that's the last one, and I will hand over back to Chanel, is that this program, and I think because of the linkages and the connections that it has, gives you exposure to really high profile lecturers who come from various institutions, the World Bank, the OAU, former ministers, the works, and that they are able to give you a more practical view of the areas around development, around governance, the more dated topics there. So I think that was very important for me. And lastly, the fact that it's very Pan-African based. So in that you are also exposed to a network of fellow classmates. So it's a more peer-to-peer learning also presents you with a network when you exit the program, that we still maintain connections and linkages with, to help us in our development and in our work, which is something that we've been able to do. You've got to make the course coordinators your best friends. Zikona kind of happens to you, but you've got to happen to her as well, as they really become quite the anchor in supporting you, in reminding you of your deadlines, that your submissions, in just responding. I know we would at ungodly hours be sending WhatsApps to Zikona, saying we forgot this, or we need this, or what is our guidance. And she's very helpful. She's able to come through and respond to all the questions that you have. So you really have an academic staff that are really well-rounded and well-equipped in all areas to help you through, to ensure that you exit and you complete the program. So if really, I really hope and pray that you consider joining the Masters in Development Policy and Practice here at the Nelson Mandela School. Thank you so much, Chanel. Over to you.
Thanks, Julie. Good to hear your reflections as well. And some of